Insane Raven. I haven't done one of these in a while. We're talking about Shazam. It's time for an IO review. Alright, so Shazam. I went into this movie not really with a lot of expectations. I don't really know the character. And the last time I did a superhero review, it didn't end so well for the movie. But so I wasn't really looking forward to seeing another superhero movie with more or less the same premise of unlimited potential and yada yada yada. But I walked out kind of pleasantly surprised, and surprised that I was surprised. I mean, we're talking about a movie and by a company who really just haven't been able to get together the win that they need. And yet here they were pulling it off, and not only pulling it off, but making a surprisingly a lot of sense. So the best way for me to describe Shazam in Marvel terms, since that's really the only movies that count nowadays, obviously. Take the style of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, throw in the superpowers of Miss Marvel, and then go ahead and just have a shit ton of charm and fourth wall breaks, and you pretty much got Shazam. Now, there weren't a lot of fourth wall breaks, but just more of a continuity type thing. So this movie takes place somewhere in the DCEU after Batman has become and Superman have both become things in their own rights, which is super exciting on its own. You see that even though then they've kind of given up on the DCEU and instead of going for the other world strategy of reinventing their iconic characters, it is fun to see that some things are going to stay in place, making it not so much feel as everything's been a waste, which I was kind of worried about going into it. I am playing awful. No, but the story takes place around Billy Baxton and him becoming Shazam. And pretty much all the hijinks you would assume that would happen based off the trailers, and by giving a 14-year-old boy the powers of fucking Superman. Because trust me, it gets wacky, and we have fun. All in all, the movie, I ended up having a great time doing it. There were even a numerous amount of times that it had me genuinely laughing. And not in the whole, oh, that's kind of awkward type laugh, but a genuine belly laughs. The other thing I really enjoyed about the movie, which I was kind of surprised about, were the child actors. A lot of the child actors, well, they just kind of seem to like show up and do some things. In this movie, I felt for them. It wasn't this thing of like, oh man, my new family. But it was this, oh, okay. I see. And I'm not hating. But all that thrown in, this movie is a really fun time. It's the kind of thing where it's willing to throw things out the window and be like, well, that didn't work, so let's just have some fun. It's a movie that, if it was still part of the DC, if the DCU was still a thing, I'd be very excited to see where this movie would make its mark in that universe. But it's not, and that's probably for good reason, if I'm honest. The way the movie ends up is that you don't really want Shazam to be a part of anything. You want him to kind of be his own dog in his own race. And personally, I really enjoyed that. I liked having not only a character that could stand alone, but a character that feels like it should be standing alone. And I'm going to go more into that with in the spoiler version of this review later on in the video, so keep that in mind. So with the movie kind of imitating Thor Ragnarok in certain places, it's easy to see, and easy to feel that it doesn't really earn its punches. And that was one of the biggest complaints I had when it came to Thor Ragnarok. That I felt like because it had to keep these joke-a-minute pieces, that it didn't really earn any of its serious moments that it was going for. And while the people I saw the movie with shared that opinion with this movie, I don't feel it was quite as invasive as Thor Ragnarok was. If anything, I feel like it was done more as an afterthought of, oh, this is kind of serious. Oh, isn't this supposed to be a 14-year-old boy? Well, let's throw in a joke here or there and just have some fun with it. And I am totally okay with that. It fit tonally with Billy Baxton of him kind of being this little shithead of a kid, but still, you know, having a good heart and having that good place. And, you know, him, and all in all, being a really cool character to hang out with. I like how there was similarities between the hero and the villain in a way that it didn't feel cheap and it didn't feel cheapened, but instead it felt like something that would make sense. Even though this movie does have plot holes, I'm not gonna say that it doesn't. It does, and it's unfortunate, but every movie at this point has its plot holes, unfortunately, when you're too busy making things look really cool than actually doing anything with it. Oh, I played horribly. But I did really enjoy this. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the fun things that the movie did. Like, there's a scene that you've seen in the trailers where these little boys playing with a Batman and Superman fucking figuring in and smashing into each other, like, adventure and shit. And you end up seeing that scene in the movie, which, by the way, is such a thing that I hate that I have to give credit for, that trailer scenes make it into the movie nowadays, but my god, it's awful. That's something I have to congratulate a studio on doing. But it was just a lot of fun seeing that scene and be like, and then like, ah! And it's like, oh, that's really cool. I liked that. I think the fact that they had this setting during this Christmas time, during Christmas, was really fun as well. I loved it. I love the fact that it was like, oh, yeah, we're gonna have this kind of dark and serious like villain of the 7 deadly sins and whatnot. We're also gonna have this like really lighthearted romp for it, which, you know, I enjoyed. And yes, I am eating Vaughn almonds as I talk about this movie. Yeah, I'm just having fun. So, that's a weird skin for that character. So, all in all, I do recommend this movie. I had friends giving it an 8. I had a friend give it a 7. I think it's kind of in the middle. You know, it's not a perfect movie by any chance. It's not a movie I would be like, hey, you gotta go see this movie. But it is a movie that's like, hey, you know what? It's on TV right now. I'm not gonna turn off. I'm gonna hang back, relax, and enjoy a fun little romp. Because that's really all this movie is. It's a fun little romp. You know, it's just a good time. So if you want to see something a little bit more lighthearted this week, go see Shazam. You won't be disappointed. Now that is going to conclude the spoiler-free section of this review. So if you do want to save yourself from spoilers, I suggest you click away now. You have until take a big old swing of this Bang, not sponsored, energy drink. And then I'm going to go into spoilers. Spoiler time. Alrighty. So, a large part of this movie surrounds Billy Baxton's need to have a family and be not one of a crew necessarily, but just to feel like he has a place to belong. And it's something that you see mirrored in the villain of Dr. Savant, or whatever his fucking name is. Because he's not actually saying, he just be like, super villain. and you end up seeing this whole arc of, well, we really just were caught at the wrong times in our lives, and we just wanted to be good enough. We just wanted to have a place that we could call our own. And it's something that, first off, besides it being highly relatable, it's something that you automatically want to be like, hey, I get it. You know, I want to connect with these characters. I want to connect with these characters that are literally flying around with fucking lightning bolts on their chest. But I want to connect with these characters. And it's something that gets brought up time and time again throughout the film, is that you don't understand what that meant to me. You don't understand, like, this and that. And I feel like if you wanted to hate this movie for just to hate the movie, just because it's DC, you could definitely, like, put that into a whole PC culture gone out of control type thing. Be like, oh, my feelings got hurt because you did a thing. But I don't know. I feel like it was done in a way that didn't seem cheesy or cheap, and it seemed to be a more genuine thing. I don't know. I enjoyed it. But with the main villain basically channeling the seven deadly sins and just kind of being evil for evil's sake, you know, he does a good job. And he ends up having a lot of fun with some moments, even though he is the villain. Like, he shows up and it's like, ooh, what the fuck is this guy gonna do? And, you know, you kind of see him get what he wants. Within the first, I want to say, like, half hour of the film, he ends up getting what he wants anyway. So even though, in the end, he does end up losing and gets beaten and gets all of his powers drained, he pretty much has already won. Like, before he even faces off against Shazam, he's won. He's proven to his dad that, you know, he is more than his dad could have ever have assumed he'd be. And it's something that, like, is used in the film to be like, look at how evil that he is. Look at how he just walks into this boardroom and kills all these people. But then you kind of remember, like, oh, that's all this guy really wanted. Like, he didn't want to really rule the world. He just wanted to be powerful enough. He wanted to be strong enough for pretty much anything. And, you know, he's told, and he gets kind of manipulated by the seven deadly sins of being told, like, hey, you can be the most powerful if that's what you want, but there is one who can beat you. There is one that's stronger, and that is Shazam, our boy. So without any real reason to fight, like, he's kind of just ends up being evil for evil's sake. I mean, he goes ahead and kills his shit, and does his, like, bad guy mission of the week, and then moves on. It's probably the one thing I wish would have been done a little bit better in regards to just storytelling. It's like, well, why do we give a crap that this guy's, like, doing evil guy things when he's already accomplished his thing? And, you know, movie got a movie, I guess. Fuck it, I'm gonna give it a better explanation than that. With all the scenes and everything that ends up happening, it ends up being kind of sweet. You know, it is unfortunately predictable in the way that, well, with Billy's whole thing of, like, I just want to belong, and you getting this new foster family pretty much at the start of the film, you know immediately that, oh, by the end of the movie he'll be happy and warm and cozy and whatever within this new family, and everything will more or less be fixed. Which, for storytelling, I get it. It ties everything up, but it's something I wish they wouldn't have made such a thing about. You know, I wish it would have been more like, you know, and I'm better, and, like, we all growing, and we all still working on it type thing, rather than it being, like, an instant fix. I am kind of disappointed that it was sort of this instant fix, but Marvel, DC gonna DC, you know what I mean? So, you really can't complain all too much. I do want to talk about the very ending, the final battle of this movie, because first off, it does show off a couple of things that I really did enjoy. Billy Baxton is an incredibly smart kid, and it's something that I was worried that you kind of lose in the middle of, towards the middle of the film, where he's kind of just like dicking around, being like, I'm a superhero, woo! You know, he is a pretty smart kid. You see him in the beginning of the film, basically detectiving his way to find his birth mom and whatever. And it ends up being a really cool showing of, oh no, this character, not only is he capable, but he's someone that it makes sense to root for. He is more than capable, and it makes sense that he is this like lone wolf type character. But at this point, he's been managing pretty well as this lone wolf character. And in the end of the film, he gets this memory of like, oh, right, I was told about my brothers and sisters and how we have like, how all of them are gone and yada yada yada, and how we want to put him back on the throne. And he ends up using the staff that gave him the same powers, and ends up giving his abilities to basically all of his brothers and sisters. So you end up having a Shazam team, essentially, get created. And it shows that it could be not only a really cool thing, but it shows that this character doesn't really need to be a part of the Justice League. It's a character that now, through creating their own team, creating his own team almost instantaneously. I don't want him to be a part of another team. I want him to kind of like do his own shit. And maybe have his brothers and sisters come in every now and then to save him. But he's proven to be reliable by himself. He's proven that he doesn't need to have all these other characters kind of in. And he's showing that he can kind of just have fun with it. And that's what I wanted to see out of this film. I wanted to see DC, you know, have some fun. And they definitely did prove that here. And with the Deadly Sins taken care of and everything, and with Black Adam being teased at the end of the in the end credits scene, I'm excited to see where Shazam 2 would go in. Personally, I think it'd be an interesting romp to kind of see, but it's not something I'm dying for, you know. But that's all I got for Shazam. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys wanna saw the movie, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If I'm being too easy, too lenient, too whatever, let me know. If there's a movie you want me to review, let me know that as well. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.